And we're back with another episode of the Lakers Fast Break podcast. Happy Easter, everyone. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here from the Lakers Fast Break. Pop Culture Cosmos, where we Eduardo didn't sleep all night. It's it's a playoff game, Eduardo. It's just one. I hate to use the Laker Tom vernacular, but yeah, in this case, it's just one game. Remember, they it's a basketball game. Unfortunately, their lives move on and ours has to as well. I'm trying to do the best I can to go ahead and go for you on this, but I know it sucks. But man, don't lose sleep over what happened. I mean, could be worse. It could be Memphis right now, down 50, and I'll just leave it at that. But it is Gerald Glassford. Thanks so much again for joining us right here at the Pop Culture Cosmos, where we cover the latest news and trends in pop culture each and every week, twice a week, wherever you get your podcasts. Just want to mention that I will bring out a show tomorrow for those on audio listening for the Pop Culture Cosmos, covering the world of video games for the Super BS Games Cast. So go ahead and check that out here on Monday for your Monday morning drive, right on the Pop Culture Cosmos channel, indeed. But also, as well, don't forget, we will be bringing you more live coverage of all that we do here during the course of the NBA playoffs. I know it didn't start off on the greatest of notes, but go ahead and stay with us right here at Lakers Fast Break. And don't forget our coverage of the games that go on during the NBA playoffs. I'll leave it up for everyone. Right now, the Oklahoma City Thunder are destroying the Memphis Grizzlies. I think they were up by over 55 at one time. I don't know. I lost track. Right now, it's 115 to 67 in the fourth. They're just playing out the string. OKC has got a 1-0 lead, and they look every bit the favorite right now in doing so. But go ahead and check out playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break. Join the conversation there. I will leave the games running up all day. I'll pop in from time to time, and some of the guys probably will as well. So go ahead and check that out indeed. But also as well, of course, Lakerholics.com, the Lakerholics Spotlight. I know that Jamie is busy with the young lady dealing with Easter eggs. So go ahead and check out the guys, including Laker Tom, who's probably very upset right now. He probably hit his, TV way too hard last night, but I'm sure he'll have something to say, along with Jamie Sweet. And then, of course, big shout out to L Rob. Happy Easter to those guys right there for you at Lakerholics.com. But a big happy Easter to my guest, the man from the islands, the guy who has to deal with the grumpy guys who are even grumpier on Monday morning when they start getting back at Lakerholics.com again. It is Michael Heinrich. Aloha, my friend. Not
Aloha.
the way you wanted to go ahead and start the series.
No.
No, not at all. Your thoughts? I'm just going to say this. I'll just say this. I'll leave it in your hands. I've been watching games like you, the Laker games, Laker playoffs games for decades now. I probably have never seen a team as ill prepared for a game, a Lakers team that's ill prepared for a game like this one. Yes, you can blame LeBron, you can blame Luca, you can blame Austin, you can blame the guys on the side, and I'm sure we'll go ahead and nitpick that here in a little bit. But JJ Redick deserves a lot of this because they said in quotes afterwards they weren't prepared for the physicality. They weren't prepared for this. They weren't prepared for that. A lot of that falls on the coaching staff, and it's probably the worst coached game I have ever seen in a playoff game by a Lakers coach. And I'll just leave it at that.
Well, I don't know how you're not prepared for the physicality that Timberwolves bring. I mean, that's kind of like their calling card, you know. I mean, that remark kind of blew me away because it's like, you know, how can you not be prepared for that?
Yes.
For me, there was a lot of things that went into this game other than that. When you look at the T-Wolves, we had 15 assists. Randall and Edwards had 14 between the two of them, 29 for the team. the ball was not moving. And I know that, you know, Timberwolves are a tough defensive team, but I look at more of the offense than I even do the defense in this one, simply because our offense did not resemble anything we've been seeing over the last couple of months from this team. And that was probably the most surprising thing to me. Sometimes I wonder if it's a good thing for Luka to get out and have a 20-point first quarter or whatever it was, 16. I forgot what he did.
He's 16. He had
Yeah,
16 at the end of the first quarter.
yeah. I remember Kobe would often have very few points in the first quarter as he tried to get everybody else involved, and then he would take over. I just kind of wonder, when the offense in that first quarter was so Luka-centric, if that didn't have something to do with, you know, guys need to touch the ball. And we just weren't, people just, I mean, LeBron wasn't touching the ball. Austin was touching the ball very little, you know. Rui got up a couple of shots, but it was an offense, you know. I mean, we can talk about defensive problems later as well, but for me, it was the offense and just offense not showing, and it wasn't even tough defense per se, because we were just missing a lot of shots we normally make. I mean, Austin was missing a bunch of bunnies, and it was just, the offense was very disappointing to me. Let's just leave it at that.
Well, again, I just think that the preparation, they had a week to prepare, and they came out flat like that. And as soon as Luka went to the bench, it reminds me, and I talked to someone last night about it, that when AD and LeBron was here, whenever LeBron went out of the game, the Lakers usually did not perform well. Their ratings were significantly down when LeBron was out of the lineup. So flash forward to today, and you have where LeBron is in there when Luka is out of the game, going out of the game. That's basically where the Lakers lost this. The Lakers lost this game as soon as Luka went out of the game late in the first quarter. That's when the tide started to turn and the momentum started to build, and the Lakers never recovered. And it just seems like, again, whether you want to point it to one stretch or another, that type of just unfortunately, the inability to react by JJ to find the right pieces, to find the right tools to go ahead and just stave off that momentum was disappointing, to say the least. He could never find the right combination after the end of the first quarter that worked to any semblance of a degree. They never really got back in the game. It was really disappointing to see that they didn't show heart. They didn't show urgency. They didn't show the things that you need to showcase in the playoffs. And that to me is the most disappointing, is that they felt relaxed when they came out and they got to that lead and to start off with, and they relied so heavily on Luka. And I get you. I understand that the offense was very Luka centric. I get that. I understand that. He was feeling it. He was having a good game. The other guys, LeBron, didn't step up. 18 shots, still didn't get a chance to step up. Austin Reeves, he was invisible for great parts of the game. That's, again, these guys are big enough stature and superstars enough stature that they should go to Luka, or they should go to the coach and say, you know what, we need to go ahead and find something different that we're doing, and correct what we're doing wrong. To me, it just is just very disappointing from the get-go. Watching the entire game, I felt disillusioned with the way that they were. And the fact is, Luka has been to the finals. LeBron has the hundreds and hundreds of playoff games that he has, and they come out ill prepared. It's absolutely no excuse, the stuff that I heard after the game of how ill prepared that they were. To me, that falls a lot on the experienced guys that have been there before in the playoffs, but it also falls on the coach for not having a game plan or alternatives as soon as it started to go right. I mean, The adjustments on the fly make a great coach. And the things that you're able to do to stave off those momentum shifts really, really just goes ahead and describes how you are, rates how you are as a coach. And I think that's something again. This was his first game coaching in the playoffs, so I'm going to have to give him a little bit of slack. But again, Minnesota's not going to give any slack. They're going to continue to go ahead and put the pedal to the metal. 23 points, 23-0 fast break points, and over 50% shooting from three-point land. They have got to adjust. I don't know why they did not adjust to the hot shooting of Minnesota. It was really inept as far as the defensive game plan. If you are not getting back on D, if you're not going out and contesting the three-pointer, and when they're hot like that, it just makes absolutely, no sense to me why they didn't make those adjustments during the game. Just absolutely just it's very frustrating to watch. It seemed like they didn't even care at times from what I saw on the basketball court. And to me, that was truly disappointing. You got you got your week off after dealing 2 straight years in the play-in. It seems like to me maybe they should have played in the play-in so that they would be more ready to play on Saturday. Maybe that was the deal. Maybe they need to go grumbling about the play-in. LeBron needs to go grumbling about the play-in again, like he does every year. They maybe need to go through that just so that they were more prepared. But again, it just seems like when you talk about a lack of preparation, to me, a lot of that falls on the head coach, Michael.
Yeah, yeah. The adjustments defensively was kind of non-existent and was kind of mind-boggling. First of all, lack of a rim protector on this team, we saw firsthand. Everybody was talking about that could be a problem for us, and it truly is a huge problem for us because without that rim protector, we were collapsing into the paint to prevent the T-Wolves from scoring inside, leaving practice shots from three for these guys. I mean, these guys were so wide open they could have, had a cup of coffee and then
21 three franchise record for them in playoffs. 21 threes, Michael.
21 and so many of them were not contested because everybody was in the paint. At some point, you got to say, okay, let's give them some contested shots inside and cover up the three-point shooters because they're killing us. But that never happened. They continued to do. There was that one little stretch when we got it down to 10, 12 points, in the third or fourth, early fourth quarter, where we were covering up the three a little bit better. But then that just went away again, and I think they knocked down 3 in a row or something like that, and then the game was over at that point. It was. Like I said, mind-boggling that we, at some point, I mean, Rui, LeBron, those guys, they're big guys. Make them come in the paint and shoot over those guys, get out on those three-point shooters. The amount of non-contested threes is what blew my mind. A guy's hitting threes with a hand in their face, fine, tip your hat to them, There was nobody within 10, 15 feet of these guys in some of those shots, which is just unexcusable.
And very inexcusable. Very disappointing, Michael. But it is game 1 to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Game 2 is on Tuesday. We'll have it for you. Playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break. I'm on with Michael Heinrich from Lakerholics.com. Go ahead and check out what they'll have to say. I know it won't be pretty. But again, I just want to make sure everybody knows. Yes, we're going to try and have a happy Easter again to everybody out there. I wanted to go ahead and wish you and your family a safe and happy Easter holiday. One of the things, though, I do want to mention is that we talked about this before the matchup took place, Michael, on the show. We were talking about the importance of the bench, and was not asking our bench to outperform the Minnesota bench because Minnesota relies extremely heavily on Walker and Reed. But I said if they can get anywhere close within shouting distance, that sways the balance towards the Lakers. But last night, that bench was absolutely putrid. I know a lot of people, again, as I stated with DFS is not the second coming. A lot of people were praising DFS is a career 10-point shooter, a 10-point scorer in the league. He is who he is. And he's a pretty good defender. He's an inconsistent scorer. And yesterday you saw what happens. He has his good days and he has his bad ones. He'll hit 6 threes in one game and he'll be invisible the next. Jared Vanderbilt, 14 minutes. He gave you, I know that there was a period of time, Michael, where he gave you that frenetic and crazy defense that he's known for, but he provided only 2 points on offense. And Gabe Vincent, who has been a little bit more promising this year, coming back from injury throughout most of the season for the Lakers, unfortunately decided in 25 minutes to take the game off as well. I think when you have things like that, Michael, you have to go ahead and you have when you have an off day from the bench from your top three guys, you need to just abandon the old only play a few guys off the bench rule or play the maximum with your starters. If your starters are not hitting and your bench is not hitting, try to find something else. Bring a Dalton off the bench. Try that for a few minutes.
Yeah,
If
I
that
thought
doesn't
you
work,
would. Yeah, I thought that would have
go
been
ahead,
some.
Michael. I mean, because Jordan Goodwin only got 6 minutes. Dalton got only minutes in garbage time. These guys, they're there. They have their deficiencies, but you know what? They could also light a fire under this team with a couple threes or a couple good plays here and there. But you don't know. You don't know because you won't even give them a try off the bench.
Yeah, that was kind of surprising to me. I mean, Goodwin hardly played at all, and he's been really solid for us. He's one of the reasons why we where we're at. You know, he came on really strong defensively, and he can score. I mean, he's not going to be a consistent scorer, but he can score. Dalton, I would have liked to have seen Dalton get some minutes just because like you said, we weren't, our bench guys just weren't scoring. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
not just scoring. I mean, what Gabe get 2 or 3 shots for the entire game?
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's another part of the ball not moving. You know, was we weren't we weren't getting these guys shots for the most. I mean, Finney Smith, he had 5 shots. You know, he was 1 for 5. That's terrible. But I mean, these guys weren't getting shots, and that was, you know, really to me was ball movement. You know, 15 assists for a game is just so far removed from what we had been doing. You know, the ball just was not moving well. And it didn't matter whether Luka was on the floor or off the floor. The ball just was not moving. And defensively, one of the things that really stood out to me on the defensive end was that these guys, I don't know. It just, like you said, it was just lazy defense. They just weren't. I don't know. I'm a bit frustrated.
I can imagine. They weren't aggressive at all. They seemed very passive. They seem very entitled once they start off with that big lead. And I know it was actually made a good point here in the chat by Adam, how Jackson Hayes never really got back into the game again after starting the game out. He only played 8 minutes. He is your only source of size, and that was also mentioned after the game about how Jackson Hayes gets out of the lineup. They immediately said, you know what, we're going to go ahead and try they don't have any fear of the Lakers when Jackson Hayes left as far as their only source of size. And I understand that we have to go ahead and get a center, et cetera, down the road. That's obvious. That's been obvious before even the series started. But Jackson Hayes only getting 8 minutes, and he's your starting center because I understand that the Lakers wanted to go the 5 out. They wanted to go the small ball lineup. But when things aren't working for you, Michael, before you let the game get away from you, you as a coach, you have to try certain things before the game gets entirely away from you. And I don't think JJ was willing to do that until the Lakers were down 27.
Yeah, yeah. Jackson Hayes, if I recall, he had a couple of offensive rebounds during that 8-minute stretch, which could have helped us. We got off to a good start on the offensive glass, and that just went away. But the thing about it is that Rudy Gobert was almost non-existent in this game. He just didn't do a lot. Part of it was foul trouble again, but we lost this game small ball. We were beaten. I mean, we have been touting the small ball lineup. Mm-hmm. We got beat at small ball for the most part.
Yeah, because Rudy Gobert did nothing. Rudy Gobert did nothing the entire game. He was not needed. Played only 24 minutes, 2 points, 6 rebounds. He was nothing. So that, again, it looks, Minnesota matched our small ball, Michael, and they were superior for it in that first game.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the thing about it is that from a scoring standpoint, neither Ant-Man or Randall really hurt us that much. I mean, I think Ant had 22 and Randall had like 16 points. Mm-hmm. But it was drawing all the attention and getting it out to these other guys and us not getting out with them. That McDaniel had 25 points, I think. Naz Reid had like 23. They were hitting open three after open three after open three. And that's really was the difference in the game. I mean, I thought, from a scoring standpoint, we handled Ant and Randall extremely well. But so much of our focus was on those two guys that we just almost like forgot that these other guys, I mean, Naz Reid shoots 45% from three. Why in the hell is he by himself? McDaniel is a great three-point shooter. Why is he standing out there by himself? Walker had a couple of threes, and he's a really good three. That was where your adjustment comes in, Gerald.
Yep. Absolutely.
JJ just wasn't adjusting to what they were doing.
No.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. Again, you have to adjust on the fly. When things are not going your way, you have to adjust. These coaches are sometimes so rigid, Michael. And you and I have seen this over the course of our decades watching this game. So rigid sometimes these coaches are on their rotations, or, oh, you know what? I'm going to stick to my game plan. I'm going to stick to what was going to work. I'm going to stick to it. And you know what? When you're down 27, it's not working. It's not working.
Yeah.
And you got outscored 38-20 in the second quarter. Whatever you're doing, it's not working. Try something different. Before you, they talked about after the game, let going the rope. We let go of the rope after Luka went to the bench, and we never got it back. Oh, you think? Absolutely. Play with some passion. Play with some heart. They went on a run, and they absolutely let it go from there. They did not play with any passion, any heart, any sense of urgency. I was talking during the Clippers game because I was on. We were on playback. And we were talking during the Clippers game, and I said, Ty Lue did not lose the Clippers game in the overtime. He lost the game late in the third quarter and early in the fourth when he left Bogdan Bogdanovic out there, who was terrible, and instead kept out and sat out Kawhi and also sat out Ivica Zubac for too many minutes. He sat those guys out, put in Bogdanovic. Denver closed the gap, and it gave them momentum to go ahead. And obviously what we know what happened there with the Clippers victory. These coaches are sometimes so stubborn that they will not see the forest from the trees. It is absolutely frustrating that, again, if what is out there is not working, make the change and make the change quickly. And it's just very disappointing indeed, Michael. Just very disappointing indeed. Sam said, "Yeah, they won by 51." Sam, yeah, just absolutely a great performance for OKC. Obviously going in as a favorite, but Michael, yeah, just definitely disappointing effort in Game 1. And we're going to have to see what they're going to do for Game 2 because a lot of adjustments are going to have to be made on the part of the Lakers, Michael.
Yeah, the only thing I optimistic thing I can say is we lost the first game in our last championship year too. So I mean, you lose games. Although home court wasn't as important in that because it was in the bubbles, so it's not like you're losing the edge you would have in when there's a live crowd. Still, I can see what we can do. We were swarming Randall, I think, way too much. LeBron can go chest to chest with Randall. Rui can go chest to chest with Randall. They didn't need to double and triple him as much as they did. Ant was getting in there, but this year when you watched Rui, a lot of times they had Rui on Ant, and he did a really good job. They should have abandoned the swarming in the paint stuff and at least be ready to get out to these shooters. That was the problem. They designed their defense to stop the interior of Minnesota and forgot all about the wings. I mean,
plus again, no emphasis on transition. They got killed in transition. I mentioned earlier in the recap that they were outscored at one time 23-0 in transition. Absolutely disgraceful. I know the Lakers at times, even with AD or with Luka, this team just does not get back on defense very well. They're one of the poorest transition defense teams out there. But the way that the Lakers usually make it up for it is that they are usually out in transition themselves. And unfortunately, that was not the case with only 6 transition points. Just absolutely no sense of urgency. I just think that to me, that was the biggest thing I'll take away is just absolutely no sense of realizing it's Game 1 of the NBA playoffs.
Although 40% shooting doesn't help your transition defense much either. Yeah. It's a lot easier to catch a long rebound and get into transition than it is taking it out of the net. We got to shoot better. 40% is it was terrible. I mean, that was part of the problem with our transition defense. Earlier in the year, turnovers wasn't a terrible thing. We had, I think, 13, but I think they scored on 20 points or close to it off of our 13 turnovers. That doesn't help your transition defensive either. So the combination of those turnovers and our inability to make shots, you're going to get kind of crushed in transition defense. But those guys were just so on fire, though. I mean, there's a certain thing that I've noticed all through my years. When a team gets off to that kind of hot start shooting, it's contagious. The trick is to make them miss a lot in the first part of the game, because sometimes that's contagious too. And so I don't expect them to shoot 50% from 3 going forward. I just don't. I mean, even with our poor even with our poor rotations, that generally is not going to happen often. That's how we brought down OKC. Was we had an unreal amount. I forgot the percentage, but it was over 50% from 3. And it's hard to beat a team when they're shooting on volume that many, that kind of percentage. So I don't expect them to hit 50% again. But at the same time, if we don't contest a little bit, they could, I guess.
They have to go ahead and do that. I don't care about the inside if that's going to be the case. If they're worried about the paint points and they're just letting off these practice threes all over the place, it's not understanding what's going on. And Minnesota, again, they are not going to hit 58%. At one time, I think they were 58% from three. I understand that the odds are probably not in their favor on that, but you have to try and contest a little bit more. You have to do certain things differently. Again, I understand Gobert and Hayes were essentially both played off the floor when both teams decided to play a little bit smaller. But again, it's how effectively you utilize that. And, the thing was, Edwards didn't even have a great game. He was shot 8 for 22. If you'd have told me that you would Gobert would have been nullified, or at least he would have been just a non-factor, and Anthony Edwards shoots 8 for 22, I think that the Lakers have a great chance to win the game. And it just absolutely was not the case. You're letting guys like Jaden McDaniels, 11 of 13, getting you 25 and 9, looking like an all-star out there. That's absolutely ridiculous that you let a guy, one of these supporting cast members, really blow up. And that's absolutely disgraceful to me. Naz Reid, again, Naz Reid is more a consistent offensive scorer, so him getting 23 doesn't bother me as much. Yet, even though he shot 6 and 9 because those shots were uncontested, it's the Jaden McDaniels explosion that's the one that gets me the most, Michael.
Yeah, yeah. And Nasri, we know all about him. He's hurt us numerous times in the past. The thing about him, though, is that he is a streaky guy. He could easily go 1 for 9 next game. That's why he's not a superstar because he can shoot the ball and he can get hot and he can look unstoppable. And then the next game, he's not there offensively. So I'm hoping that this next one is that. But we have to trust our big bodies inside. We don't have to collapse everything. I mean, if they're going to shoot, if Ant's going to score over Rui, Rui has a 7'2" wingspan. If he's going to make a tough shot over him, so be it. But don't put 3 guys on Ant and then leave McDaniels in the corner. You said make more of an effort. How about just trying to make a effort to contest? Not more of an effort, a effort. Because there was oftentimes nobody, the closest guy was standing in the paint, and that is unacceptable.
Once again, it is Michael Heinrich from Lakerholics.com. Aloha to everyone out there. It is, of course, Lakerholics.com. News and opinions on the world of the Lakers from Laker Tom, Michael Heinrich, and of course, Jamie Sweet. Shout out to L Rob as well. Happy Easter to everyone. I understand we're not in the greatest of moods, but I'm wishing you and your family the happiest of Easter out there. I want to go ahead and get on Twitch here. Talk to my good friend Parade on Figueroa. Parade has a question for us, Michael. Gerald, do you and Michael believe that this series is still the Lakers to lose? Are you anticipating a 7-game series now? Well, when you are slapped in the face, you can do one of two things. You can fight back or just be mortified and cower away. And it's going to be either one of those two things. And I'm going to go ahead and say, you know what? The Lakers have got to show some pride, and they are going to go ahead and fight back in this series. They're going to have some great effort. They understand now what this team in Minnesota is all about. They understand that what they have to do, and I'm hoping that that's going to be the case. But so yes, I am. I think now that it has to go to a 7-game series, bring it back home. But what concerns me, Michael, is that you got slapped in the face where you're best at. The Lakers are substantially, according by the season numbers, and we saw this with the eye test, they are substantially better at home during the course of the season than they were away. And when you go and lose where you're most comfortable, that's not a great sign. But again, I'm going to see what's going to happen in games 2 or 3. To me, games 2 and 3 are pivotal, Michael. I think if the Lakers get back up, win 2 in a row, they can totally shift the momentum in this series, Michael?
Yeah, well, I said in the I wrote in on the blog, and I said in the last show that there is these playoffs are going to be a war.
Mhm.
Um, just everybody except Grizzlies um, was just really going to be a tough out, and everybody was talking. The Lakers are favored. The Lakers should win it. Blah 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 blah. I didn't really think that. I thought that this is going to be a tough series. Tom called it five. He said it in five. I never believed it was going to be in five. Um, so yeah, I think we need obviously we need to win the next one. I mean that's game three is we need to win the next one, and then we need to win one of the next two in Minnesota. Doesn't necessarily have to be three. We just have to win one there and win the next one. Um, it's not going to be there's no cakewalks in this. Although, I am, towards the end of the year, Lakers started looking better on the road than they'd had earlier. I mean, we crushed OKC at their place in a playoff game, and there was a playoff atmosphere to that. I mean, OKC was coming at us, and we just crushed them. And then the second game, we were ahead when Luka got tossed. That was a battle too. So I'm okay with this on the road. I think we'll be okay. It's just that we got to figure out what we did wrong. They have to make some adjustments. I'm sure they will. Will they work? I don't know. But we have to have more confidence in our big bodies inside and not swarm everybody once they get into the paint. Let them shoot over us, make tough shots. That's okay,
Just
Uh,
contest.
yeah,
Contest.
but don't just leave guys just standing around wide open. You can't have three guys in the paint to stop Ant. You got to make him make a tough shot, and he'll make some tough shots, but make Randall make some tough shots. Randall is really inconsistent as a scorer, and you can, he was not killing us offensively, but you don't need when you got guys with size like LeBron and Rui. You don't need to send so much help on Randall. Those guys can handle him. He can't bully them. He can't back them down like he can other players. I mean, Rui and LeBron, they stand their ground against Joker. They're not going to. You just have to have more confidence in our big bodies inside and pay more attention to the wing guys because that's where we lost the game.
I think momentum is going to be a key in this series. I think again, if the Lakers can get 2 and 3, games 2 and 3, they can go ahead and I think or swing back the series in their favor. And then Sam said, quite often, the team that starts to dominate, get on a roll, can go ahead and win 4 in a row. I'm not expecting that because I think Minnesota is a little bit better team than that. But I do think that this series, again, is going to go a long way. But I do think, again, having the seventh game, trying to go ahead and for have a team like the Lakers that can actually think, okay, we got this. We're coming back at home. We made a mistake in the first game. We looked embarrassed. We were embarrassed in the first game. We're going to go ahead and make amends. And I just think again that JJ has to make better adjustments both on the fly and before the game. And I was just kind of sad again the fact that they kept saying after the game that how unprepared they were as a team for guys that have been in the league for many years. Austin's been through the series to now. There's no excuse there. LeBron has been through, his playoff games leader and all that. No excuse, absolutely no excuse. So if they don't come back and smack back Minnesota on Tuesday, even if it's close, Minnesota might get a moral victory, even if they keep it close. But again, the Lakers have got to send a definitive message and go back to Minnesota with some confidence going forward. Michael?
Yeah, two things won't happen in the next game. Minnesota won't shoot over 50% from three, and we'll shoot better than 40% from the field. I,
I hope so. Yeah,
I,
I
I
hope
can
so.
guarantee that. I mean, when you look at the quality of some of the shots that we missed, it wasn't for lack of, it wasn't because of their defense. We missed some quality. I mean, Austin missed a whole bunch of bunnies that he normally always makes. And another thing I was noticing with Luka getting fouled, I don't think he got an and one. He his shots weren't falling in, and he was just getting two free throws, But he normally, on a lot of those, he normally gets and ones, So we were just missing LeBron. I don't know where he was in the first half. He decided, well, maybe I should play in the second half, but he has to be more aggressive. He has to put more pressure on those guys. He has to put pressure on Randall, who draws him a lot. Because Randall can get in foul trouble. He's not he's not he's not immune to foul trouble. As we saw taking it at Rudy, he gets in foul trouble very easily. So we weren't, LeBron needs to get more aggressive. He needs to, when he did start, when he did shoot, he was shooting threes. Take it at them. That's still what he does best. Take the ball at them. Make them stop him inside. Because he can put Randall in foul trouble. Like I said, Gobert's not hard to put in foul trouble. So, he was not aggressive, and Austin was somewhat aggressive, but he was missing all his shots when he got in there, It was
Again, I had said before that Minnesota last year in the first two rounds, especially that first round against Phoenix, really played some of the best playoff basketball I had seen in quite some time. I'm not saying that their defense wasn't great, because their defense was very good yesterday, but the Lakers had many open looks, and it's how you deal with those open looks. The Lakers not getting offensive rebounds, not crashing the boards on both sides of the ball. They got out rebounded. Again, a lot of things have to change, because every major statistic the Lakers lost. And if you continue to play like the Lakers played yesterday, you're going to be an easy out for Minnesota. And I don't expect that to happen, but we will find out on Tuesday. But Michael, just great to have you here on this Easter afternoon. For you, Easter morning, my friend. What are you guys up to at Lakerholics.com? I know that Laker Tom went from being all in on today's show to being all out. So I don't think he wanted to be cursing on camera here. But again, my friend, wishing you a happy Easter. But what are you guys up to at Lakerholics.com?
well for me. I haven't written my post game thing yet. I'm just letting the dust settle a little bit, probably before I before I vent like I'm venting today. As far as Tom is concerned, he wrote a, a pretty good article on our defense and offense, and maybe the reason why he's on the show is we did nothing of what he wrote about.
Exactly.
We did not live up to that article that he wrote, the last one he posted before the first game.
No.
So I don't know. It's like I said, it's a hard pill to swallow. You don't even mind losing a game at home if you fought well and it was a down to the wire and it was hard fought and you showed the effort and you got beat. That happens. But to lay down, that's the hard pill to swallow.
Yep. At least the Clippers, they can kick themselves because they made mistakes. Again, I know that everybody's talking about the Westbrook up and down roller coaster ride at the end of that game. And you could, for whatever that's worth, Westbrook, you win by Westbrook and you lose by Westbrook. You live and die by Westbrook in the Denver game. But again, I thought Ty Lue made some very poor choices that allowed Denver to close the gap. and make it much more competitive. That obviously ultimately led up to them tying the game and being able to take it to overtime. Because again, putting Bogdan in there because he was absolutely miserable. Two straight turnovers, then also as well playing. They picked on him on defense on every possession that he was in there, and then having Zoo out an extended period of time early in the fourth quarter, and also Kawhi was out for a period of time. That to me during the course of the playoffs and such a tight game was mistakes. And I mentioned that on playback, but again, it's the Clippers. I don't really care about them. I know that a lot of people don't want to see the Lakers and Denver meet up again, but we'll have to wait and see. But the fact that the Lakers just essentially rolled over and did not put up much of a fight was very disappointing, Michael. And I'll let you close with your final thoughts, my friend.
Well, I am optimistic about the next game. Like I said, they're not going to shoot 50% from three. We're not going to shoot 40%. I expect to see more of an effort, and I expect to see them adjust to their wing, just their wing defense. We cannot allow them just to. I mean, they'll shoot 50%. I mean, those guys can shoot 50% if they're, if it's warm up shooting, which it was for them for the most part. We have to get somebody at least running out, getting their line of sight somehow or something. There were too many times when guys were just popping away and the closest guy was in the paint because we were swarming the paint. We've got guys inside that can hold their own. So let's pay a little bit more attention to the wing defense. And I think they will. And I have confidence. It's not just JJ, but we have a guy named Nate McMillan on the bench. One of the our defense, everybody gives JJ the credit for it. I want to give McMillan, he's a defensive, guru. And I'm hoping that he makes some adjustments because a lot of this defense is Nate McMillan. I think JJ is more of an offensive mind. Nate McMillan was the defensive mind. And as a player, he was like an all defensive player as well. I mean, he knows the stuff. So I'm hoping that they will adjust to the point where at least you got guys within the vicinity of a shooter.
Okay. Well, we'll see what happens indeed. But it is, of course, Michael Heinrich. Go ahead and support him today by stopping by Lakerholics.com. I also want to mention for you guys before we head on out, I know that you guys were kidding. It is Joe Soro, the Easter Bunny for this weekend, and to see him with a cigar and a shot of vodka while he's in bunny ears would probably be very hilarious, but I wouldn't put it past him. But I do want to mention his game on Steam. Corrupt, Coreupt, is now on sale. I want to go ahead and I'll bring it up here. There it is, 80% off. It's $4.99 on Steam. So if you want to go ahead and help out Joe, it is Coreupt on Steam, fighting game there. It is now $5 to everyone out there. $5 on sale on Steam. So just wanted to mention that. But again, for all the great things that the Lakers are up to and the Lakers' opinions that are up to, Laker Tom, Jamie Sweet, Michael Heinrich, and also big shout out to L Rob who stops by on the show as well. Big shout out to those guys at Lakerholics.com. Lakerholics.com. You type that in and it'll get you going indeed. But again, from all of us to all of you, we wish you a happy and safe Easter holiday season. I know Joe is on his playback.tv/Joe Soro experiment for the Dodgers game right now. And then, of course, also as well, I have the playoff games. I'll pop in from time to time on playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break as well. So, yes, the Oklahoma City Thunder destroyed the Memphis Grizzlies today. Right now, it's early in the Boston game. Right now, it's 9-7 Boston early in that first quarter. So again, NBA playoffs are here. Will the Lakers realize that on Tuesday? We will find out. But for Michael Heinrich, it's Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for watching this thing. Truly appreciate it. We'll see you maybe tomorrow. At least myself or Joe will have either a big fast break or an experiment for you. We'll go ahead and set you up for game 2. And then game 2 will be right here with us, all how we call it and how we see it and how it is right here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast. Happy Easter, everyone. And as Michael always says from the islands,
Aloha.
Aloha.